Hey, welcome to the sit down. I'm your man Rod Love. Hey, and to my left is none other than Sister Wynn. How you doing this evening?
I am doing well. New year.
New Year, and the bald-headed guy on the screen without the brim tonight, Dr. Light. How you doing tonight?
Let me see if I got a hat around here.
Hey,
Oh,
hey, hey, hey,
hey,
and
you know,
I see you got
one
that
nearby.
hey, I see you got that technology working too. You see how camera zooming
Yeah,
in and zooming out?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, y'all ready for 2025?
man, I'm ready. This is gonna be a great year. I just feel it. I think I think we're gonna see some exciting things and um, just continue on our journey of educating and transforming. You know, the community and people. Around. And let me say this. I know y'all know I can talk, but I want to say this because I want people to hear my heart on this. The two people on the screen with me are some of the most genuinely community oriented people you'll ever meet. Their heart and their desire is to help the community at large prosper. It doesn't matter about race, creed, color, or class. It's about helping people become their best and be their best. Because let's face it, when my neighbor is better, I live better, and
Hey,
that's
but you
what the
know what?
job.
But you know what, Doc? You hit something on the head, man. And yeah, we're gonna get into our discussion tonight. But you know how people go into the new year, and I ain't gonna lie, I used to be one of them. But go into the new year and start talking about New Year's resolution. Hey, you know what? I stopped that, and I ain't ashamed of my age, but I stopped that about 20 years ago because I don't wait till New Year to start declaring I'm gonna live good or live better. I strive to live good all year round. I don't wait for a new
Exactly,
year
exactly,
to say I declare I'm gonna do this or you know, y'all see me. Hey, there's some seasons that come around, and then I start telling y'all my suits fit me too tight. I need to lose some weight. I'm not waiting till the end of the year to do
right,
it.
right, exactly,
That
exactly.
is true. That
But you
is
know
true.
that comes with our social conditioning, where we are taught these things. We celebrate birthdays and all of these other holidays. Every month now has a holiday in it. It's Super Sister Month. We went from having a birthday to a birth week to a birth month.
Hey, yeah, you know what, Doc? Though, you know what? See, Doc taking me off script, but you are so right that now and these my friends. I love my friends. Let me go ahead and qualify. I love y'all. Some awful, but I got friends now that they talking about. Okay, this is my birthday month. I'm celebrating my birthday all month,
The whole month.
the whole month, and it sounds good to me, but come on,
Realistic.
come on, come on.
Yeah, I
Every
remember.
day.
I remember one of my sister-in-laws asked my wife talk about what you doing for your birthday month. I said, I'm shutting that foolishness down right now. You got one day, just like everybody else. I don't do birthday months.
Birthday
Okay.
months.
Hey, I've sat there and my birthday has come and gone, and I didn't even remember. It's not that for me. It's not critical. It's just like the holidays. I don't truly celebrate the holidays. Why? Because I try to live an example of the holidays every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah,
And so,
Yeah.
it's no different from any other day.
yeah. It's
Well,
got me.
well, listen, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to forget my birthday because I'm going to remind my kids my birthday is the shortest
Hey,
month.
hey. If you got to remember your birthday in February,
hmm February
okay.
17th,
Yep,
See,
my
the
my
shortest
oldest
month.
daughters is in February, my son and my wife. So,
hmm Don't forget
but
them.
let me ask you this: why won't you forget your birthday? How critical is it to you, and why?
I look at, to me, birthdays to me is I'm here another year. I look
Mhm.
at
a
life.
milestone,
Yes.
and a lot of
And
people
I'm
can't celebrate them
and I'm
milestones every
about
year.
to reach that
'Cause,
milestone.
yeah,
Yes. And
you're
so
right.
I'm just glad to see another year because, like Mr. Love said, some are not able to even come as far as I am with my birthday, and some don't wake up the next morning. So I'm just thankful that I'm alive to see another birthday. That's the way I look at it.
So I won't begrudge you to celebrate a whole week. I understand people take off their birthday week, but the month, come on, come on, hey Doc, come on.
No, Miss Love, this is my birthday month. I can work from home. Miss Love say, you want a job? You can come on.
Birthday week, you can get your arms around it.
Yeah.
But
the whole month,
oh man,
no, that's too much. That's too much.
Yeah,
So February, huh?
but
Okay.
you got to take those moments to celebrate yourself all the time. You should be celebrating yourself all the time, as
Yeah,
often
you're
as
right.
you can. You shouldn't just get jewelry on your birthday. Um, you know, when we first got
Your
married,
husband tuned in because your
I
birthday
was-
coming up.
I hope so.
I was one to buy stuff for my wife, but then I found out that wasn't her love language. Her love language is pack a suitcase and go to Jamaica, if or to the beach. Now, if I could take that girl to the beach every day,
She go, huh?
she'd go,
Yeah.
and she'd be just as content.
Yeah. And just like that, Doc, it's the small things.
Right.
It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It's just
Right.
the small things that.
Because a lot of times those
You know-
those grand gestures get lost.
Here's a perfect segue into when you talk about those small things.
hmm
Tonight, punch list, Doc, I'm going to dive into it. The punch list is, we talk about do better, be better, and we're talking about we shouldn't wait till the new year to do it, but let's go ahead and get into this constructive conversation. And that conversation is, and Doc, I'm going to take it almost verbatim, and thank you, man, for the night. Today, we're going to have our conversation about how we dive into the essential goals of whether you're providing an after-school program, a mentoring program, senior citizen services, no matter what it is you're doing in social services, you need to measure
Yeah.
what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
And so, Doc did this one up tonight, and let's just talk about it from an academic standpoint for a second. When we talk about after-school programs or academic programs from a support standpoint, and Doc, I'm gonna be running track tonight. I'm gonna pass the baton between you and Sister Wynn. But when we talk about academic support, lead us off, man.
Well, one of the things that we're finding out through research and empirical evidence over the last couple of decades is that there's a holistic way to teach, and one of the things that's emerging is social. Now, social
Social and emotional, is that?
and emotional learning. It's called SEL. Okay. And it focuses on teaching people, children, adolescents, and adults, because we need to take some of them back to remedial life. It teaches them how to manage their emotional state. And you ever heard the term emotional IQ?
Yeah.
Okay, so emotional IQ is how high your ability to self-soothe, self-regulate, and critically think your way through emotional states. Okay, and the higher your IQ, the less likely you'll deal with conflict or a problem in a negative or self-harming way. One of the things about a lot of kids with autism is their inability to manage their emotions and feelings in certain environments or in response to certain triggers. So that's critical that we learn that, because it impedes us learning everything else. You ever been in a class where there's one child that's just so disruptive that the other 22 kids can't learn? And that's why.
The school system deals with it on a regular basis.
Exactly. And so as a result, we're not measuring that. We're not looking at the fact that this is impacting other learners. We don't say that. We're blaming everybody but the situation. The teacher can't teach because she's too busy managing problems.
But Doc, let's talk about this. And Sister Wynn and I told you when we went down our punch list, we know this is in your ballpark. This is in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But some of the things I got enough sense to want to throw this out to you and ask you this question. You know, you're talking about empathy. You're talking about communication skills. You're talking about how do you regulate your emotions and things of that nature. So break that down for us.
Well, in relationship to like after school and mentoring programs and social services, when you don't have a basic emotional IQ, it impedes you receiving any substantial services that these agencies can provide. Because just like the teachers, they're going to be dealing with your issue, your emotional issue, and so that's why we got to go to social and emotional learning. That's why we got to do that now, because we were just teaching academics, but we weren't teaching people appropriate behavior in situations. You know.
And go ahead, Ms.
So
Wade.
then, if that's the case with the social and emotional learning, wouldn't the parent also need to be involved with that teacher?
You know, I'm gonna pass the baton back to Doc, and you bring up a good point. But from my perspective, how would a parent know what they don't know? You know,
Yeah.
and so, you know,
Well,
when we talk about,
but
go ahead.
that's where things like an IEP come in. Okay,
But Doc, still, when you talk about IEP, that's something that the school, well, a lot of the school systems deliver or provide that. Yeah.
Extra
So-
but they have the input. They're supposed to have the input of the parents, and give the parents a framework that coincides with the one at school that is in place at home.
Hey, Doc,
You understand?
So we're not speaking in code. IEP. Come on. I know what it is.
Individual education program.
Okay,
And
okay.
what it is task and identified tasks through assessment on what the child needs right there, the right then to meet their educational goals. Okay, because again, IEP is about addressing certain impediments to learning. We say, okay, and it's not necessarily bad things like behavior. It could be something like health. Okay, a child that's frail and fragile can't sit there 8 hours a day and do that level of work. So we got to tailor a program. You know, he might do 20 minutes of work, and then he rests for 3 hours, or she rests for 3 hours. Then we come back and we do the next segment. It's individual. Individual is the key word. Educational program, and it's to meet their educational needs. And it. Now, the crazy thing about it is they often try to make it in line with peers, and that's the craziest thing to me. And I
When you
always
say make it
argue.
in line with peers. What do you mean?
What
do you mean?
they want this, they want same or similar academic outcomes, and
the
that's
level.
that's just not. You know, people don't want to say the child is, for lack of a better word. Now, y'all don't be calling me. I don't practice no more. I'm retired, so I'm gonna use this word. But they don't like to use the word retarded. But retarded means held back. Okay, it means something is impeding your growth, retarding your growth. So that makes you different. And I can understand the stigma behind it, because it's not a word that I really like,
Right.
because it doesn't encompass it. I like different ability, because everybody learns differently. Some people are tactile, some people are auditory, okay, and some are my mind went blank right there, but it's tactile, auditory, and
Remember when we had-
visual learners.
Remember we had Mr. Is it Henley that was on the show?
Yes, with his son.
And he talked about the things Doc was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, and so in that, one of the things that we're not doing is creating a continuum of intervention from school to after school to home to address the things in that child's life. And it just imagine if school, after school, and the parents were all on the same page.
Oh, the classroom would be a
Right.
lot better.
Right,
than what
because
they
it
are now.
yeah, because that will shape the child's interaction and expectation. If I'm expected to behave this way at school and after school and at home, that enforcement, that reinforcement will take and stick.
Well, Doc, here's what I'm gonna do, because I do want to move us on, but I can't move us on until I hit you with this last thing. And I see, as we're having this discussion, one of the things I mentioned, just from the research that we have here, it talks about empathy, it talks about communication and emotional engagement. But here's something that a lot of people don't distinguish between the two, and they make one synonymous with the other when they're totally different. When you talk about empathy and sympathy. And Doc, you yourself would know that a lot of people look at them, unfortunately, they view them as the same. You know, when you talk about empathy, you're thinking about the feelings of others. But then when you talk about sympathy, feeling sorry or pitying somebody. But you have folk that don't distinguish between the two, and that's something I think, you know, when we're talking about just engagement with young people, we need to have them understand the difference between the two, because if you can relate to how you make somebody else feel or how they feel based on some other triggers,
Right, right.
then you're halfway there.
Halfway. That's the key. Halfway. But
Okay, and here's a simpler definition of it. Empathy is understanding the emotion. Sympathy is feeling the emotion with the person. See, when you have empathy, you understand how that person will feel or what they're experiencing emotionally. And for counselors, it's an impediment to have that sympathy. I can have empathy, but my job is to get you to find a solution to the problem that is making you unhappy or impacting you. See, you know, it's like your kid. You know, daddies will say, when the kid falls, dad say, "Okay, you all right? Get up, let's go." Mama run over, "Oh, my poor baby," and that's a great illustration of both sympathy and empathy.
Man, I'm about to put us back on the right course, and you about to take me right off of that course, because Doc is going down a path for another show when you want to talk about and this is what I'm gonna reference it, men raising boys versus
women.
mama boys.
Yep.
You know, that boy, I tell you, that can take us deeper into a discussion, and I don't want to do that, because me, you, and Doc will get so entwined in this, the time will be gone. But and our purpose is to get our folk arms around that. No matter what services you're providing, it is critically important that you measure whatever it is you do.
Yes.
That whole mama boy, that we need to do a show about that, because there's a lot to unpack in that.
Well, it's a lot to impact. Yeah, he keep taking me off script. It's a lot to impact.
Yes, it is.
But you know what? I think there's a lot of tragedy that's taking place, because you don't see. I mean, I see, and we always talk about this new young generation, is a totally different generation.
Yeah.
You see more young men that are not picking up the torch of being a man yet. And I think a lot of it is because
Later in life.
they're being enabled by their mom or woman in their life, that, you know, a lot of, let's just say it, you have a lot of men that are being raised, if not by their mother, by their grandmother or auntie.
Yeah.
But listen, you know what I've noticed about that too? What's the true thing, and it's never talked about, is the emotional state of these young men. Many of them cannot regulate their feelings. That's why they out there killing and doing all this crazy stuff, because they don't know how to regulate their emotion. They don't have social and emotional learning. They don't know what's inappropriate. If it feels good, they just do it. If
But
they
Doc,
think,
I'm gonna disagree with you. I'm gonna disagree with you
okay,
to this extent. To the extent that um, these young men, they know the difference between right and wrong. I mean,
Yeah, they do.
yeah, they know the difference between right
yeah,
and wrong.
okay, but what makes you assume that they do? You saying they know, and this is oftentimes a this could be a critical blockage to us providing help, because we often think that people know better, and we assume that based on cultural what we
Cultural
believe are
norms.
cultural norms within our culture. You know, we came up. You had to get in that house before the street lights go on. It was certain things that we were told to do, and then expected to do them.
So Doc, if you ask me the question, uh, do I believe that they know the difference between right and wrong? If you go into a store and you put something in your pocket, why is it that you putting it in your pocket to hide it? It's because you know it's wrong for you to go out that store without paying for it. If you go and
Not
perform
if
a
okay.
physical,
I'm glad you're on this topic. We are getting off topic, but it's on.
it's all because of you.
Yeah. But listen, okay. Let me say this. I got to be careful how I say this. There's a part of my family tree where the mom taught the kids to shoplift and boost. Okay. And they were in Walmart, and I ran into them, and I knew what they were in there doing. Okay. But because mama had taught this to them, because she did it and she wanted to enlist their
They still knew it was
participation,
wrong, Doc. They still knew
they-
it was wrong.
but it was validated by mom. Society says it was wrong, but mama said it was right.
I get where you're going, but I am not gonna agree. It's hey, Mama know it's wrong too. They know it's
Yeah,
wrong too.
but but to what extent psychologically and critical thinking is a barrier to the idea that it is wrong for them?
hey, here's I'm gonna use one word for you, and that word is consequence.
Yeah, people don't care about consequences now.
And since you took us off topic, and Sister Wynn, you're the sister in the room, so I'm gonna ask you, and I know your son. I watched him grow up. Between you and your husband, who I know as well, who's the heavy? Because my daughters will say I'm the heavy in the house. Who is the heavy? Doc like this. Doc, hey, because I'm just no nonsense. I know that there's a real world out there, and I want my daughters to be prepared. And no, I'm not gonna be. And my wife, you know, she tightens them up when she needs to, but they know I'm the enforcer.
Yeah, yeah. And my husband is the enforcer too, because he tells my son, not just my son, my daughters, you have to realize we're not going to be on this earth forever. We are going to pass away. We need to know that you're able to take care of yourself, and that you know the difference between right and wrong, because there are consequences for every
Everything.
action.
You're right. You're right.
Everything that you do. And it's not only what you do, it's what you say. Because once it comes out, you can't take it back.
And boy, you got to be careful
You
what
have
comes
to,
out of your mouth.
yes, and like they say, that tongue is a sword, and it will cut you. So you have to be careful what you say and what you do.
Yep.
And not only that, he has two little girls. So you have to think and know that they are watching what you do and how you act.
You know, it's something that is often said that people will listen to what you say, but they'll watch what you do.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
you know, that's why. I know your daughters as well. But when we talk about young men, and that's why I wanted to ask you about that. I don't have boys, but I will tell you, my daughters will tell you, you can't tell because you're just as hard on us as if you had a son. And I'm not hard just for the sake of being hard. Love my girls to death, but I want them to be prepared for the real world, the no nonsense world. And if I get them prepared for that, then the rest of it be easy.
I always say the world will chew you up and spit you out if you're
Because
not ready for it.
because the world doesn't owe you anything.
No, they don't.
And people
That's why they will
don't people
chew
don't
you
get
up and
that
spit you
reality.
out. I don't owe
And
you
you know,
anything.
think about this. And I had a term where I told this lady this in the store. You know, people let their kids just run around and do everything, right? And her son ran by and pulled out all this stuff and hit me with a basket on the way. And I pushed the basket back. And she looked at me and rolled her eyes. I said, listen, that's your child. That's not my child. Okay. I don't care anything about him. You should have trained him not to do this kind of stuff in the store. Because everybody don't think your child is cute. That's your child.
And Doc, I get exactly what you're saying because we grew up in a different dawn. Hey, when you went to the grocery store with your mom back in the day, you knew to walk. You knew what distance to walk behind her. You knew not to be looking at the shelf and pulling stuff.
And
what was
the thing she told you at the door going in?
Don't ask for nothing. Don't touch nothing.
There you go. Don't touch nothing.
Yeah. Hey, but you know, it was 5 of us. So it was always one of us that said, "Ma, can we get?" And the rest of us would look. We would be looking because, you know, back in them days, you could get smacked and no big thing. Now you smack, somebody got the camera out, and then you get out the store and police with DCF.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that is true. I don't say I wish. I just would hope some of the old values that we have, we can kind of instill those in some of the young folks. Because we want to be, fun.
Well, we facing a time, and it all sounds pretty and good, but we got to look at the fact that if you go on social media, you see 60-year-old mamas dancing with the 20-year-old and the 35-year-old daughters and trying to be seen and be relevant. So values aren't what they used to be. These people don't know modesty. They don't know appropriate behavior because everybody else is acting just like them.
Yeah. But you know, and Doc, you're right on this point. What's the girl name that was on like one of those reality? Jocelyn? Atlanta. She was on Atlanta
I know which
Housewives.
Yeah.
And I guess she was married to Stevie J or something. And she has her own show. I just saw it this weekend. I was flipping through the channels. And when you see that these young ladies are on these shows and they got these big bodyguards that are allowing these women to fight each other. And then Jocelyn will come in and say, okay, that's enough. And I'm like, what state are they in where you see
because it's all staged. They are.
Man, Doc, you saw what I saw. The blows wasn't staged.
Listen, that stuff is staged because, like you say, if it was real assault, there's no state in the union where you can get away with that.
Well, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna say to you.
And assault is not about somebody reporting it, huh?
It is.
It's just bad to see.
So why are not?
Even if it's staged, hold up, Doc. But even if it's staged, think about the message that you're sending to everybody else who don't understand. Just like WWF or WWE. Now that's staged, but people, that is a big money maker.
It is.
For something that's staged, and all you see, and I like that WWF. I remember Hulk Hogan and all the boys, but I knew it was staged.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, so.
But for us to even be on television doing that type of thing is.
Wait. You said us. Ain't no
When I
us.
say
That's
us,
them.
well, them. I mean,
But
But I
see,
know what you.
black
But I
women
know what you're
yeah,
saying.
I know, but we are
on
not.
television doing that type of thing. It makes us like, how was you brought up? Is that all you know? Let's see something
But-
positive that you're doing, not just.
Hey, but I'm gonna take you back because I don't want the audience to think that okay, we're sitting up here identifying just these African American shows. I'm gonna take y'all back to the days where this thing started. When you go back to the Jerry Springer days,
Yeah,
I forgot.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ricky was it Ricky Lake?
yeah.
See, people
Yeah.
don't remember them,
Yeah.
but
What's the
were
other
the
lady?
pioneers.
What's the other lady that the guy,
With
the
the
first murder
glasses?
was on? No, that's Sally Jesse Raphael. The blonde lady. And they took her off the air when this gay guy had a crush on the other guy, and the guy didn't know.
And when and killed them.
Yeah, and killed him.
I remember. I don't know who that was, but I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, but we've made antisocial behavior into entertainment in this country. Violence is entertainment.
Yeah.
Think about it.
And it's more sensational. You get more clicks on something that's bad, that's derogatory, that's violent.
Yeah.
You get more clicks.
Yeah.
Now,
And so what's the social outcome for that for us?
well, we
What
already
happens?
see what it is. We already see what takes place. Degrading, I guess what you would call the social, and people get into this debate about morality, and I get it. My morality, I shouldn't tell other people that they need to live by what I did, because we all are raised differently, the values and everything. But come on, we do know there's a threshold, if you would, between right and wrong, and I mean we're talking about some of those things now.
But we all been raised differently, but there's some of the same values that.
Right.
everybody
Yeah. There are
should have.
I agree. There are universal values.
Yeah.
And so we need to be mindful of that, but that's hard to do when you are watching or experiencing do what I said, not as I do.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of that in leadership now. We got politicians who openly and blatantly lie. They know you know that they know they lying, but they still lie.
But you know what? We're having this conversation, and you know, just like Let's Talk Nation with attorney Greg Jackson and myself, our objective is the same as Let's Talk Nation, and that is, yeah, we can continue to have this conversation, but where do we go from here? What is the solution? And we don't have all the answers.
Right.
But I will say this: there's some things out there that's taking place incrementally that I agree with, and one of the things that probably is going over a lot of people's head right now, and that is the law that the state of Florida, that the Florida legislature enacted, that I believe it is in place now, regarding underage children being able to get on certain platforms, social media platforms.
Isn't that like-
Oh yeah, because they got the block up where if you operate an adult site of any kind, you have to scan your driver's license each and every time you log in to get there.
Oh wow. Okay.
Now, it's a stupid law. You know why it's a stupid law?
Why?
Because you can use a VPN. And
To block.
it's
when
not
you come-
a VPN. It's just in Florida. So all you gotta do is turn on your VPN and go
But
go
Doc,
onto
let
the
me ask you
site.
this. But let me ask you this, because I don't understand that. I mean, I thought the VPN really disguises where you're accessing. People can't know where you're accessing the internet from. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
So I'm sitting in Florida. My VPN is set up for Seattle, Washington.
Okay, I get it. But you know what? Here's what I'll say. That incremental step with having to show your driver's license, which has your date of birth on it, at least that's a barrier for some children who shouldn't be on the internet.
Listen, the kids know the tech better than you do.
But Doc, so you said 100% of kids got that smartness that they're gonna figure a way around. I mean,
Think
that-
about the things you used to share with your friends when you found a lick or you found an opportunity to get over when you was a kid.
man.
All the kids knew it.
Hey, I'm Fannie Mae's son.
So you ain't
Fannie
finna tell
Mae
on
was-
yourself.
Hey, Fannie Mae was hard on us. I didn't know what the inner city looked like till my sophomore year of college. So what I'm saying is, Florida's population is like 20 million people or something like that. What I'm saying is, and I don't know what percentage of that population is kids under 18, but I'm throwing out a number. Let's just say you got 3 million kids out of 20 million that's under 18, and that driver's license check, while you may have a lot of smart kids that know how to get around it, if you stop 1 million from getting to that adult site,
That's good.
that's good. That's a start.
Yeah.
But listen, in that culture, that information goes around so fast. Like, do you know how to get the ink out of money from bank robbery?
I never thought about that, Doc.
See, it's about circles.
Don't put nobody on those. Don't put us on.
I'm not gonna tell you. I'll tell you off the air. Hey, I'll tell you off the air. Why? Because listen, the circle I once traveled in, that kind of stuff was passed around as information.
Hey, I be trying to get dollars with doggone writing on them. You talking about getting ink out of, man.
I just use that as an illustration.
What I'm saying,
Well, nobody's contacting us.
what I'm saying, there's not going to be a cure for everything.
No, it's
but
not. It's not.
because somebody said, let's
See,
put an
y'all-
impediment or a barrier in place. If it's out of 3 million kids in Florida, if it stops doggone a percentage of that, that's a doggone start. And out of that wide net, you definitely are gonna be saving some kids' lives that would go on a site and mess around and a super predator identifies them. So
Exactly. End up meeting
Yeah.
somewhere and
yeah, we're not gonna fix everything 100%, but in increments, whatever we can do.
Yeah.
I gotta applaud. I mean, again, this social media piece that prohibits, and it's not 18, Doc, or under 18. I thought it was like 15, 14 or 15 years old.
It's 14. They can't have a if they're under 14, they can't have a
platform on
a
the
platform.
social media.
Yeah, they can't have an account.
Hey, but Doc and Sister Wynn, here's something that I did with my kids, and I think about it, and I think, with a car, when you are 15, you can get your learning permit or something.
Permit. Have to drive a year.
They have to drive a year, and then you go back and get your operators. But you have to be learning, you have to be training on how to drive.
Yes.
So here's what I did with my daughter, and I still have one that'll be 18 next week. One is 22, and my baby girl will be 18 next week. I realized that if I just didn't let my kids get on social media, and then once they turn 18, and even 18, my kids don't walk around talking about I'm grown. Not the me. Now they might slip and say something like that to their mama, but not to me. But anyway, I had enough presence of mind to know, don't hold them two girls back, and then they turn 18, and then they go on social media and not know how to manage.
Yes.
And so while you still can kind of ball their shirt up in your hand, you know that old man ball your fist, ball your shirt, jack up.
Listen, you're a good daddy, because a lot of folks don't understand that the impact that fathers really have on their daughters. When a girl sees her father perform and act in a certain way, that becomes her model for what men are.
Yes.
So a daughter raised with a father who he does what he says, he does not mistreat them, is going to be very selective in who she chooses to have in her life.
Hey, well, anyway, they sometimes I'm sure they didn't love me all the time based on
But
what,
that's life,
and
though.
based on what Doc, because Doc is giving a plug for our responsible fatherhood initiative.
But
I hear the plug.
it's not your job to be loved by them. It's your job to love them.
Man, my job is daddy. And Doc, I set him up so he can throw that plug in for responsible fatherhood. But we do have an initiative, and Doc and Sister Wynn are directly engaged in this initiative. But we partner with the Experienced Christian Center with Bishop Derek McCrae, who operates a responsible fatherhood initiative, and we also partner in Seminole County with
No limit, Mr.
Pernell Bush with No Limits. And basically, that objective is an introduction to responsible fatherhood.
Right.
And y'all notice I didn't just say fatherhood, responsible fatherhood. And Doc, if you would, and then I'm going to pass the baton to Sister Wynn, give a little piece of the curriculum that fathers are engaged in and why it's important. And we're not telling anybody how to be a father.
Well, I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna play my little spiel here. I'll let them hear it.
Responsible for the survival of their families, often engaging in
Turn it up some.
You still can't hear it?
Nah, Doc, that ain't. We gotta
Okay.
keep going.
All right. So anyway, responsible fatherhood is about empowering men who may not understand what it means to be a father in its fullest. We're not talking about biological fatherhood. We're talking about fatherhood in its totality. Who's there for the physical, emotional, and all aspects of raising that child, being involved, being engaged with the other parent, being engaged with the community on behalf of their child, making sure that they understand that being a father is not just an aspect of giving them money, but being there to make sure that they grow with structure.
I'm glad Doc said that money part because what Doc just said, and I'm gonna interpret for you. Being a father doesn't mean I'm your gravy train. Hey,
Yeah.
Doc, so Doc hit it right on the head. So, Queek, give your perspective on our responsible fatherhood initiative that being facilitated in Orange County by the Experienced Christian Church and in Seminole County by No Limits with Pernell Bush. Give your perspective on this initiative.
The initiative with responsible fatherhood, just like Dr. Light said, it's not being that biological father. You could be a surrogate father, or you can step in for being that father figure for your nephew, your niece, or whoever it may be, to show them the right way and the right things to do in life. It's manage your money, management of money. Being able to communicate with your child. I think that's very important, communication, that dialogue back and forth.
And it's not just the fathers that are in the home, it's fathers that's out of the home, it's fathers that are not with their children's mother. The other aspect of it, and you hit it right on the head. I don't know about y'all, but me growing up, my mother and father got a divorce when I was in the 4th grade. We're also inclusive of father figures, and you mentioned surrogates. Father figures are just as critically important as biological fathers.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's because it's a choice. Being a father is a choice. It is a choice. You're saying that I love this person, I love this child, and I'm going to be there to make sure that they become the best version of themselves to live in this world, and I'm invested in that. Being a daddy means.
Let me throw this out. See, you and Sister Wynn, y'all sit up here, and I know I was going to say believe it or not, but I know y'all do believe it. Y'all challenge me to challenge y'all. Y'all challenge me to challenge our audience, and the way y'all challenge me is this. And let me get this plug out for anybody who's watching this show. Whether it's you or you know somebody that could benefit from enrolling, and it's totally free, enrolling in the Responsible Fatherhood Initiative. Please, and Doc, if you get this going across the bottom of the screen, you can call 407-494-2406 when the person answers the phone, let them know that you're interested in the Responsible Fatherhood Initiative in Orange County or Seminole County.
Give that phone number one more time.
407-494-2406. Call and let the person who answers the phone know that you're interested in participating or enrolling in the Responsible Fatherhood Initiative for Orange or Seminole County. But here's what you two have challenged me on. Even though the title is called Responsible Fatherhood, I pride myself on being the best daddy that I am to my daughter. And the reason why I say daddy is because anybody can be a father.
Yep.
You're right.
Anybody
No
can be.
nation affirmed.
Yeah. Anybody can be a father. For me, and I could be wrong, Doc, and I don't mind, Sister Wynn, being wrong.
Okay.
But a father, I'm gonna just say, you can lay down and get up and find out you're a father 9 months later. The difference is when it comes to me and my role with being the daddy to my daughters, or being a what you want to call father figure, being that daddy figure to some of these young men that I watched grow up. When they call me and ask me, "Hey, Mr. Love, she doing this, man, I feel like doing that." I tell them, out of love, being that daddy figure, if you would, no, you do that, you're gonna get in trouble.
Yep. Consequences.
We gotta discern, and we also need to educate. I love the title Responsible Fatherhood. Lovely title. But which one do you value the most? Being that father or being that dad? Which one?
Well, so many young men are anchored in the idea or the understanding that their father not being there somehow impedes them from being a great father. I didn't meet my father until I was 13. He was always a voice on the phone. Now, what that did, that was a negative experience for me that I turned into a positive. And I never wanted to be the kind of daddy that he was. And so I didn't want kids all over the place. I didn't want to not be detached from my kid's life. And unfortunately for me, there was a period where I had to, but that's a whole show. That's a
but Doc, because we got a few minutes left. I think it's critically important because I hear Doc, and you don't often hear Doc reaching for words, because I hit him with something that we've never talked about.
Right?
Yeah.
The difference of, we prided ourselves on this fatherhood thing, but
Yeah.
we need to go ahead and maybe for the next show, we put this promo out, which holds a high value. I mean, we got a lot of folk that aspire to be a father one day, but boy, there's some tough things that come with being a father, and that's that being a daddy.
We need to have input from the people to talk about their dads, because one of the things that we will find out is that actually African Americans are the most engaged fathers with their children. It's a dishonest stigma that's been attached to Black men as being absentee fathers, or we allow Black women to go around saying they're a single parent. How can you be a single parent? It takes two people to make a child.
We're gonna follow back up on that.
You're not
See
a
the clock on
single-
the wall down there, Miss
I
Wynn.
think
Yeah.
to me, daddy. I'm a daddy's girl. And watching my dad with his work ethic, watching my dad communicate with his mom, and not only that, with my mom, it was like that was my dad. My dad is the one who taught me how to tie a tie.
Well, you know what? On that note, Attorney Greg Jackson taught me this. He taught me how to keep people ready for the cliffhanger. And you and Doc, y'all don't respect the time. y'all don't respect the time. But here's for our viewing audience. Hey, next week, and we're going to put a promo out so that we can have you join in. But the conversation is going to be the difference between a father and a daddy. Which one do you value the most? Or do you value them both the same? So, hey, Doc,
Yeah, what's more important, being a father or daddy?
I like the way you
Okay,
said
I
that.
like the way you said that.
Hey, to everybody who tuned in to the sit down, hey, we appreciate you. We love to have you. Tune in next week. And boy, I tell you, I'm really interested in finding out what the response is going to be. So with that being said, hey, thank you for tuning in tonight. We look forward to seeing you next Monday. And hey, we welcome you to the sit down. See you next week.